what would you can say this is the first month in the summer, the second month of the summer, but they had a much more interesting system. They looked at the night sky. Okay, so this is this, and what I would like to show you is you can do this for yourself. It's pretty easy. This picture is taken from an iPhone in Bridgewater without any touch up. This is what you would see. Well, this was taken in 2024. So is it? Can you see? Yeah, you can see the little stars, right? So that little yellow thing is actually the moon, and you can see the stars. And if you get used to the night sky, you'll start repeating. You'll start be able to recognize some stars that are very easy to recognize from just the patterns. So to help you, there is software like Stellarium software. So this is how this on that day the software depicts. This is the way the sky would look. You can see the moon, and you can look at this. You can see some of those bright stars. Does anybody see a pattern? The people even now and the ancient times, they used to look at all the stars and imagine lines connecting them. And that's how they would keep track of patterns of the stars. Does anybody see a pattern in the stars? Yeah, Vibhu? This is not Little Dipper. Yeah, that's but you're right. The pardon? Okay. Okay. Does this people used to think that these stars, if you connect them this way, it makes sense. And we follow these patterns even now. That's the constellation of Leo. It looks like a sitting lion, and below that is a constellation of Cancer. It looks like a crab. Does that look like a lion or a crab to anybody? Okay. See, there. Okay. So okay. So this is how people. You keep staring at the sky. After some time, you see these patterns. Okay, so that's what they did. They said, oh, I can look at the stars, I can keep track of stars. And then okay. So then this is another picture, again taken from the regular iPhone. You can see the moon. Circled in red are those two stars, and they are pretty bright. After some time you look at it and you say, I know what those two stars are. And and there's a picture in the middle in Stellarium and the art. So those two stars in regular Western astronomy, they are called Castor and Pollux. They're two stars. And in Sanskrit and many Indian languages, that's the nakshatra of Punarvasu. They didn't know Castor and Pollux. They just called that Punarvasu. And there are two stars, and you can imagine they are the two heads of these two twins of the Mithuna Rashi. So Rashi is a zodiac sign, the sign of Gemini. So Castor and Pollux are the two heads of the two twins of the Gemini constellation. So similarly, Punarvasu Nakshatra is part of the Mithuna Rashi. These are Sanskrit words. That's what people had knew a long time back, 3,000, 4,000 years back. Okay. So now on December 5th, those of you who are going to be there, this is what the night sky will look like. And if you're not trained, you'll say it just looks like a bunch of lights and I don't know where to look. The bright thing in the middle is in the moon. So it's on December 5th, the moon will be roughly there in that part of the sky. So if you're out in the parking lot, we'll go take a look. And then, but if you see patterns, this is the kind of patterns people imagine. This is coming from a software screenshot. Okay, so in fact, I don't. In the middle of the screen, just here near the moon, you can see those two. That they look like two people, twins, and you look at the head. I don't know if you can spot that. Right here. That's the moon, and it looks like two people there. That's the constellation of Gemini, and and the lion is here. Yeah, and this. Actually, look at this one. This is going to be important. It looks like a hunter with a bow. That's the constellation of Orion. And these three stars, we'll see on that day. And you can see it's very easy to spot once you know what you're looking for. These three stars here. That's called the belt of Orion. It's very easy to spot that in the winter sky. And all these are going to be very relevant to our Indian calendar system. Okay, so the same Stellarium software will actually give you the names of the Vedic Indian names. So I already told you about Punarvasu. In Leo, there is a star called Magha, and just like you have imaginary lines, there is also an imaginary line. Uh, this beige line, but that's the ecliptic. The moon and the sun will always be not far away from that line. So there are so. Oh, it was. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. But what about in the black? Yeah, maybe it's glass. Ah, thank you. Okay. Okay. So this is again at during December 5th. It's going to look like this. And if you want, you can imagine, yes, those are the twins. That's Mithuna Rashi. Instead of Orion, they imagine the ancient Indians imagined this to be a deer, and this star on top was the head of the deer. That's Mrigashirsha, and this star Ardra is the bright star. I point out one more year, Kritika. That's the Pleiades constellation. So I think there are more pictures here. So again, in the night sky, it'll look like this. You need to know what you're looking for. Okay. So on December 5th, if the sky is clear, we'll be able to see the moon. We should be able to see Jupiter, will be pretty clear. These are the two stars I told you about, Punarvasu. This is Ardra, this is the constellation of Orion. This is Ardra Nakshatra, and this is Mrigashirsha Nakshatra. Now I'm throwing out terms like this. I've started using the term Nakshatra. What does that mean? Does anybody know what Nakshatra means? Yes. Nakshatra means star in Sanskrit. It means star, it also can mean a group of stars. Okay? So you already know a lot of the concepts, what's happening here. So these stars or star groups were easy to spot. So then what did our rishis do? They said, okay, remember why we are doing all this? We are trying to figure out um, where the moon is in the sky and how do you recognize different parts of the sky. So here's a picture, the ecliptic. Again, the moon would be somewhere along this line, but it's an imaginary line. And during this winter, and that's why we are doing it now, in the winter sky, it's easy to spot these stars. There is this Ardra, it's Betelgeuse, Rohini is Aldebaran, Kritika is Pleiades. This is a group of 6 stars. If your eyes are, if you're young and your eyes are very good and it's night, you might actually be able to see there's a group of 5 or 6 stars. Other can get binoculars and look at it. Um, and so, and then what happened is they said, okay, we need to find stars that we can recognize easily. So nakshatra means stars, but usually when people say nakshatra, they also mean there are 27 special stars which have been chosen. And so people will say it's one of those 27 stars. So the word can be used multiple ways. And why 27? Why did they pick 27? I don't, I don't expect necessarily all of you to know, but some of you might know. Pardon? You're close. There is, there is, you're absolutely right. There's 27 and 20. Yeah? Why? Same, same answer? Okay. So it has to do with, there are two numbers that are important. One is 27.3 and one is 29.5. One of them, the 29.5 is the number of days between full moon and full moon. So that's roughly 30. That's why we have 30 days in a month. But 27.3 or 27 is, okay. What happens is they looked at the night sky and they looked at the moon. It moves to a different position every day. But after 27 days, it comes back to the same position. So it's not 29 or 30, but it's 27. So here we had on December 6th, uh, the moon is going to be here, and then on January 2nd next year, it'll come back to the same place. So that's 27 days, right, from December 6th to January 2nd. So they needed to figure out where the moon was, and they said the moon comes back to the same place every 27 days. So then they said we'll pick 27 clearly recognizable stars along the way. And so those are the 27 nakshatras. So Vedic astronomers, they saw the moon comes back and they said, okay, let's pick 27 nakshatras. And then there is one more meaning of the word nakshatra. People will say, what is today's nakshatra? It's today's nakshatra will be, if you go look at today, we won't see the moon, but because it's close to the new moon. But if the moon is near a nakshatra, they'll say that is the nakshatra of that day. So it's a way of keeping time. The beauty of this is if you don't have a calendar, you just go out in the night sky and you know the moon. If you know the stars, then you'll say the moon is near um, Punarvasu. You'll say today is Punarvasu Nakshatra. You don't need any other reference. It's a very powerful system. Okay. So now what did they do? Remember I told you they did all this because they wanted to keep track of the months. So they looked at the full moon. And so again, the winter sky, if you look, um, these same nakshatras on November 5th, the full moon was here. It was a little bit on the other side of Kritika. On December 4th, it's going to be here, and January 2nd next year is going to be here. So every 30 days you get a full moon. But if you look at the full moon in the sky, it'll keep shifting. It'll shift roughly 30 degrees, and then it'll come back after a year. So they said, okay, now we have a system. We know there are about 12 months. We know the full moon keeps moving in the sky, and we have names of nakshatra. And so they said that's how we will name our months. And so if they started from Ashwini Nakshatra, I'm not throwing out concepts at you, but if you have time, we'll go through all of them. So they said in this year, for example, October 22nd to November 19th, from new moon to new moon, that month or masam in Sanskrit and many in many Indian languages, it's mas or masam. It's the month of Kartika. But the name Kartika comes because there was the full moon during that month will be near the Kritika nakshatra. And similarly, if the full moon on November 5th was near Mrigashirsha, so that month will become Margashirsha. So you see, it's a very nice system. We should all be proud about the fact that people figured out. You don't have to write things down. You just have to recognize 27 stars. If you know those names, and you happen to know, or you keep track of days, and you say, okay, the full moon is going to come. So the full moon coming near Kritika will always happen around October and November. It won't happen during the summer. So you can count on it. If the full moon is near Kritika, it must be winter. So that's how they came up with the names of the months. Now, if you have anybody seen one of these temple calendars, which looks strange, have you ever read it before? It has strange names that you say it's not. Parents will read it for maybe doing a puja or something. But what they are trying to show is in the month of November, they will say, look, there are the names of the Indian months will not line up because it's based on the new moon, right? It's a separate topic why November 1st is where it is. That'll take more time to explain. But you know the new moons, and so Margashirsha Masam begins here. So this month is both Kartika Masam and Margashirsha Masam. Now these are lunar months based on new moon to new. This is from the Balaji temple here. That's a South Indian system, goes from new moon. If you go to North India in many places, they'll go from full moon to full moon. So they'll have similar names. And so that's why, for example, Shravana Masam will start at a new moon, but in North India, Sawan will start 15 days before that. Now, I don't know if you have time. This is the lunar month system going from new moon to new moon. There is a separate solar month system based on the Rashis. And so you have names like this, which are, in this particular case, the Tamil month names, which are solar months. Okay. So this December, and so again, our boss camp is on Friday night. It's just 1 or 2 days after the full moon, and I don't know if you can read it. This one says Mrigashirja. This one says Arudra. So it'll give you the names of the nakshatram on the temple calendars. And again, people use this to figure out dates of pujas, to figure out birthdays. So if you look at, somebody said he was in June. So in our system, you go back on the day you were born, you will see what was the nakshatra on that day. There's one more thing we didn't cover. I will come to that now. Okay. Uh, before this, we have a little bit of time. It's okay. So I want you guys to get familiar with these words. So I want 12 kids to, if the nakshatra is approximately, if the full moon is approximately at these nakshatras, this would be the names of the months. So then you have a birthday in March or April. Can you read the Indian month name?
Chitra and
Chaitra.
Chaitra and
So you were
yeah.
probably it was the Chaitra Chaitra month. Anybody in April or May? Just get familiar with the name. Vaishakh. Right. The full moon would be near the Vishakha. Anybody for May and June? Yep. Jeshta. Then June or July? Ashad. These are names of Indian months, just like January, February, March. We never had to use it before. Yes. Next. July, August. Yes. And then August, September. Yes. Yes. September, October. Huh? Anybody in September, October? Okay. Yeah. Ashwayuja, sometimes also called Ashwini. Yeah. And then October, November. Kartika, that's the name of the month. Yep. And then November, December. Anybody? Yeah. Margashira. Yeah. December, January. Paushya. Yeah. Jan and Feb. Magh. Magha. Yeah. So that's because the full moon during that time will be near the Magha. It's very easy to spot the Magha star. It's Regulus. It's part of the Leo constellation. And then February, March. Anybody? Okay. Somebody else read it. Good. Falguna. So these are the month names that you should be familiar with. And then, but we didn't cover one thing. Um, so you had the names of the months coming from the nakshatras, and there are 27 nakshatras. And then, but then we also have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's called the Vara. I think we'll run out of time. No, we have time. Okay. There is Ravivar, Somvar, Mangalvar in Hindi, and Vara is day. And things like Ravi is sun, Soma is moon, Mangal is Mars. So it's the 7 days of the week are based on. Um, I think it was borrowed from outside India. The names changed. So those are the days of the week, but then you still have to name the days in a month. So if you have a month which is about 30 days, and remember they didn't have January, February, March. They didn't. So they wouldn't say July 4th, July 5th, but they would say something similar. So what would you do if you have a month with roughly 30 days? So you can divide the 30 days month into 30, they're called, in this case, lunar days. And the word for that is tithi. Can you say tithi? Okay, so there are 30 tithis in a month. And Is it not moving forward? Okay. I don't know if you can read this. Yeah, it's a little smaller font. So in the Indian calendar, there are 30 tithis, and they didn't have to go search for names of stars. They just called them names 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in Sanskrit. So the tithis in a month. So you start with the Amavasya, which is the new moon, and the Purnima, which is the full moon. And so then they had to count 14 different days. And they just numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in Sanskrit, those names are Prathama. How many of you are taking Sanskrit? Okay. Are you familiar with words like Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami? Yeah. These are, I'm just saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or first, second, third, fourth, fifth in Sanskrit. Shashti, Saptami, Ashtami, Navami. Okay. If you never, how many of you did not know that Saptami, Ashtami, Navami means 7, 8, 9? Okay. There's no reason to know, right? But are they familiar? Have you heard the Ashtami and Navami somewhere else? It's in the names of the festivals. So if Janmashtami comes on the 8th day of the month, it comes on an Ashtami. That's why it's Janmashtami. That's like saying my Independence Day is on July 4th. So you're literally just saying Shravana Ashtami. Um, and so similarly, we had so many festivals. There's probably a festival for every tithi. Find your favorite festival is there. And the names might be in Sanskrit or Hindi in different languages. You can have the 13th day is a Trayodashi, but in Gujarat that's called Dhan Teras. Teras is 13 in Gujarati. Or you might have Ganesh Chaturthi is the fourth day of the month, but Karwa Chauth is also the fourth day of a month. That's a different language, but it's all over India, this system. So it's, oh, we already did this. Yes, sure, of course. I'm almost done. I mean, I have lots of backup, but I'd rather do questions. Mhm. Yes. So these are the Sanskrit names, and there are different names. I actually have a backup slide for the names of nakshatrams in all different languages. But Uttaratadi, Puratadi, and Uttaratadi are the names in Tamil names for Purva Bhadra and Uttara Bhadra. And Ailyam is a Tamil name or Malayalam name for Ashlesha. Magam is, and there is a slide I'll show you. So actually, I'm almost done. We'll do more questions. But these are the names of the Indian astronomers who figured a lot of these things out, going back to 1500 BC. It's all written in Sanskrit documents. And we'll do, okay, so somebody from sixth grade. Any sixth grader here or seventh grader? Can you read? You might have to come here and read.
I have to read that slide?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
what have you learned?
Uh, the Hindu calendar is more than 3,000 years old, based on astronomy, and very cool. Yeah.
Might closer to you.
Masam equals month, Varam equals day of week, Tithi equals lunar date, and there's 30 Tithis in a month. Nakshatra equals star or star group, and there's 27 special stars in zodiac. Lunar Masam names are based on nakshatra names. Rashi equals zodiac sign or constellation, and there's 12 Rashis, and India uses both lunar months and solar months.
Okay, thank you. We didn't really cover the zodiac signs and Rashi's. Thank you. Okay. So there is, I think it's probably at the end. Uh, yeah, yeah, this one. No, to answer the question. Oh, what happened? Yeah, these are the It's on Wikipedia. These are the names in Sanskrit. There's Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu, I think, and Bengali. The names are all slightly different in different parts of India. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah. No, they do because they're literally asking on what day were you born, and instead of saying I was born on, say, 21st of April, and you might have been born on a Panchami, but I don't know exactly why. Instead of saying you were born on a Panchami, they actually ask for what was the nakshatra on the day you were born, and that is your Janma nakshatra, your birth nakshatra. And that's considered so important. They'll say when you're doing the puja, you're doing a sankalpa, they want God to know that you, Anika, was birth nakshatra is doing the puja. I thought it was very important. Yeah. You're literally announcing, I'm this person. It's a good question. Why not the tithi or the month? If you say only nakshatra, it could have been, it'll appear 12 times a year. So I don't know why they didn't say you should specify whether it was in the summer or the winter. Yeah. It's like it's roughly like asking I was born on the 12th. And yeah, take time. You had a question? I thought no. Yes. 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 Yeah, it's like an address, but there would be many people. No, but there'll be many. There are 27 nakshatram, so there'll be many people with you will share the nakshatram with. So I don't know why. It makes sense why they ask for the nakshatra, but maybe they should ask for other things as well. But it, yeah, yes. Oh, during the sankalpa? Oh, wow. Yes, yes, right. Purpose is similar to identify. So in this, in the temple calendars for every day, it will list the nakshatra and the tithi, and the month name is on top. So it's a calendar after all, right? Yeah. Mhm. Yes. 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 Yeah. But it's there are lots of websites will tell you put in the year and the month and the date. It'll tell you what is your Janma Nakshatra. Yeah, location is also important because the nakshatra could have changed just during some. If you really want to be precise, you need to know the location, the latitude, longitude, and the time during the day because the nakshatra might change sometime during that day. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I I don't know about Rao column. Yeah. So, yeah. I knew somebody would ask me about that. That's a different system. It's not so much calendrical. I think it's yeah, 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 yeah. It's a it's a time period of about 1.5 hours, or maybe 2.5 hours, and it varies, but it repeats every Monday. It's the same time, and so. But then you're getting out of astronomy into astrology that you won't start something auspicious during Rahu Kalam. Yeah. Yes. No, the Rahu Kalam changes every day, but it comes on Monday. It'll come back to the same time. That would be, yeah, yeah, yeah. So this has, yeah, yeah. So I don't, I, yeah, yeah. Future, yes, but that's astrology and not astronomy. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah. Yes, yes. We have, uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There is. So this is not moving. Okay. So I need to. So you have. So you have the. This is the picture of the Earth going around the sun, and then the stars in far away from the Earth. If you look away from the sun, because if you look during the day, if you look at the sun, you won't be able to see the stars. But you look away from the sun at night, all the stars that are there in the sky, and the ecliptic is the path of the moon will take. And then if you take about 5 degrees above and below, so it's a band. You can visualize a band in the night sky. That's that is the zodiac belt. And then you have the 12 constellations or 12 rashis. Okay. Um, so then what happens is, if you have in the zodiac belt, if you have the 12 rashis, this is again the Western names. So if this is the sun and the earth is going around the sun, and if you look, if you can calculate what would be the stars behind the sun, so that is the foundation for the concept of which rashi the sun is in. So, here's a picture of these are the rashis, right? Kanya, Tula, Vrishchika, Dhanur. And so during one roughly 1 month, the sun will appear to be in this Rashi, and after that it will move to the next Rashi. Now the parts of India in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Bihar, they figured out that if you the moon months keep changing, but the solar months, they pretty much remain steady in from with respect to, for example, the regular Gregorian calendar. So then they said there are 12 new moons in a year, 12 full moons in a year, but 12 times a year the sun will enter a different rashi by definition. So if you take that approach, then you can say the month is when the sun enters a rashi. That's the solar month. And so it will look like this. Yeah, when the transit, when the sun moves from one rashi to the other, that's called a transit. That's called a Sankraman or Sankrant. So if sun enters Makara Rashi, that's called Makara Sankranti. And that's the beginning of the Makara Masam. Makara Masam in Sanskrit. In Tamil, it'll be Thai. Yeah. And so, oh, where did it go? What happened to the, oh yeah, no, I wanted to show you this. So this picture is for last year actually. But so if you look last year in April, from this Amavasya to Amavasya was the Chaitra Masam. But the sun entered the Mesha Rashi on April 13th. So when sun enters a Rashi and leaves a Rashi, that becomes the solar month. So that's the name in Sanskrit, that will be Meshamasam. But in Tamil, they borrowed the same names as the nakshatram, so it becomes Chitrai. And But it's a Chitra Masam in Tamil, but in Punjab also it's a solar month. But in Punjab, they will be following the lunar months will go full moon to full moon. So then instead of Chitra, they pick up the next month name. So it becomes Baisakhi. It comes from Vishakha Nakshatra. So on April 14th, we'll say Chitra starts and Punjab will say Baisakhi starts. It's all connected to the same names, but the language keeps making a change. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So that's here. So there are 27 nakshatra. So if I start from Mesha, starts from here. There are 27 nakshatras and 12 rashis. So Mesha Rashi, and if you divide 27 by 12, you will get the two nakshatras will fall completely in Mesha Rashi, and the Kritika nakshatra will be 1/4 is in Mesha Rashi and the other 3/4 are in Vrishabha Rashi. So that's why they'll ask you if your nakshatra is the one that on the border of a Rashi, Vadyar priest will ask you, are you in this Rashi or that Rashi? And if you don't know, it's a 3/4, he'll just pick the higher probability. Okay, I think, yeah. Oh, no, go ahead if you have more questions here. Yeah, thank you. Right. Very good question. Very good question. So, I the only way you can figure out is you look when the sun sets, the night starts becoming dark enough that you can actually start seeing the stars. And similarly, when the sun rises, and so then they were good in math. They figured out that this must have been the star where the sun was. And so it needs a lot of math to figure out the rashis and the sun position. But once you can figure that out, it's a very stable system. So that's why they use the solar months. Um, the so the Rashi refers to some part of the sky, but if the sun enters that Rashi, that's the Surya Rashi. If the moon enters that Rashi, that's the Chandra Rashi. So you can use Rashi both ways. You have sun signs and moon signs. So in most common astrology, they look at the sun sign, the which Rashi or which zodiac sign your sun was during the time of birth. And by the way, these things keep slipping. So if you look at, for example, if you're Aries and the sun was in Aries zodiac sign and that's your sun sign, it's already slipped by 3 weeks from the Aries constellation. That's a separate topic because of precession. The Yeah, good. Pardon? Oh, it's just a picture here. It's just a figurative picture. I mean, I don't think this exists, right? It's not as if the sun and the earth, it's not as if the sun and the moon go around the earth. But what this is trying to show is from the earth, if you look at the sky and you look at the portion of the sky behind the sun or the portion of the sky behind the moon, that's it's trying to show that. And if this is the configuration, if the moon and the sun are in the same part of the sky, that will be a new moon. That's Amavasya. If the moon and the sun are in different parts of this opposite, that will be a full moon. So it's just a yes.
December 5th,
Yeah.
how to see, like, we need binoculars?
Yeah, December 5th, I'll bring one binoculars if the
How many of
people,
you have binoculars? 6th and 7th graders? Or 8th,
if you
8th and
bring,
9th too? If you have binoculars at home, please bring. If you have
then we
telescopes
can,
at home, bring.
yeah, then we can look at the stars and see more detail. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely have to do like a 2 or 3 hour session.
One more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a lot. Okay, children, did you all enjoy? So I was actually amazed by how our ancient Indians forefathers, they were able to just be here on the earth without having to wear any suits, astronaut suits, go on satellite spaceships and international space station, and still were able to figure out so much. But I think I'm kind of doubting their imagination for how those lines become Leo and crab and all of those, you know. But very nice, very nice. Thank you, Shankar, for sharing so many details. I think I'm kind of inspired to learn a little bit more. So we will look for additional sessions or look for a good book to also read it offline. Okay. So it's good time. And this looks like a Star Wars screen, actually, the previous one. How the band, you know, that's how the constellations form. Okay. What time is it now? Yeah, good. Yeah, it's lunchtime. Okay. So can we all do Brahma?